Here's part 2. In 2020, Inter Miami played their first game at their brand new stadium. You might be a little puzzled as to why they're moving again. Well, it was always going to be a temporary home while they sort out their new stadium. That being the most expensive purpose-built MLS stadium of all time, at an expected cost of around $1.5 billion. Considering the small size of the stadium, that's a mind-blowing figure. But I do believe that includes the entire precinct that they'll be building around the stadium. The design of the stadium is about as flamboyant as the flamingos on their crest. We look fabulous. I especially like this end that has these balconies, for want of a better word, and the video boards that so seamlessly blend into the outline of the stadium. Now, this one's not quite confirmed, but there's just no way the Oakland A's will still be here in 10 or even 5 years' time. It's already, in my opinion, the worst stadium in the league. I don't think that's a very controversial opinion. The proposed new stadium will be built at Howard Terminal, which probably means very little to those outside of Oakland. If you've watched a few of my videos, you'll know that I love it when you get a view of something outside the stadium from your seat. Whether it be a city skyline, mountains, or a freeway overpass, actually scratch that last one. But the recent redesign is based around giving spectators a view of the adjacent container cranes and of course the water, leaving the stadium with this unique asymmetrical look. If you're wondering why they didn't just align the stadium that way, well, ballparks have to be aligned a certain way to keep the sun out of the players' eyes. And after deliberation, the architects decided it would be cheaper and easier to align the stadium this way than it would be to relocate the sun. I could mention a lot more, the greenery on the roof for instance, but that's too long to talk about one stadium. SC Freiburg, currently in German football's top flight, still play at this quaint old-fashioned stadium, despite the turf being laid at this stadium nearly a year ago. The Europa Parkstadion has faced so many setbacks, some of which were unrelated to the pandemic, but it seems likely that Freiburg will be moving in within a matter of weeks. The stadium, built right next to an airport, has an interesting look to it, with that zigzag support structure that acts as the facade. On the inside, it's a nice, clean, simple, double-tiered design, with plenty of terracing as you'd expect in Germany. I just wonder how loud those planes will be. Persija Jakarta, Indonesia's biggest club, have been playing at Indonesia's national stadium for a little while now. And while it's certainly big enough to meet their needs, it's just not a proper football stadium. The track around the field really hampers the connection between the fans and the action on the field. So they're building their own state-of-the-art stadium in the city's north. This stunning facility will feature a retractable roof, just the second in Southeast Asia to do so. And don't tell the Singaporeans, but I think it might be the best stadium in Southeast Asia, when it's done. At least for football purposes. It does look like something one of Europe's big clubs would build for themselves. Very impressive. I couldn't help but notice that the stadium is quite tall. I also read that Jakarta is sinking. I wonder if the two things are related, sort of hedging their bets in case the stadium starts sinking. The Clippers of Los Angeles have played second fiddle at the Staples Center for over 20 years, watching their local rivals win numerous championships without having won any themselves. You could call them pathetic losers, but come on, that's mean. Why would you even bring that up? But maybe they can buck that trend with their own brand new arena in Inglewood, California. The same place that recently welcomed the world's most expensive stadium. On the surface, it looks like it'll be one of the more impressive exteriors in the NBA. It even includes a giant Clippers logo on the roof. You could ask, why does the logo have the letters LA when it should just be a big capital L? But come on man, lay off the Clippers. I could be wrong, but I get the feeling the design may have been inspired by sailboats, paying tribute to the team's name. A clipper being some sort of sailboat, just in case you thought they were founded by barbers or something. The interior hasn't been revealed yet, but I'm sure it'll be filled to the brim with bling, if SoFi Stadium is anything to go by. Club Leon, one of Mexico's top clubs, currently plays out of a rather simple stadium. Really just a typical Mexican football stadium. But what they'll be building elsewhere in the city is anything but that. It will not only be state of the art, but unlike any other stadium in the world that I can think of. The exterior looks fantastic, but I think the most notable aspect of the design is the sheer amount of skyboxes and premium seating, as well as these attached hotel rooms. There really isn't anything typical about this stadium other than the lower seating bowl, and that's a good thing. I'm a big believer in the saying, variety is the spice of life. Yes, burritos are better than tacos, everybody knows that, but it doesn't mean I don't want a taco every now and then. Scotland has some of the oldest football stadiums in the world, and at over 120 years old, the quirky Pittodrie Stadium, home to Aberdeen, is no exception. It's considered to be too old to redevelop, so Aberdeen are building this stadium elsewhere in the city. Yes, it looks quite flashy by comparison, and the amenities on offer will be undoubtedly superior, but it doesn't appear to have a whole lot that sets it apart from the countless other stadiums in Europe that look similar. However, it still looks great, especially the exterior. And I'm sure a more enclosed stadium comes in handy in Aberdeen, because the coastal town in northern Scotland, well, let's just say the brass monkeys in Aberdeen are all eunuchs. Technically, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors have already moved out of the aging Aloha Stadium to a temporary home. However, they'll be building a brand new Aloha Stadium on the same site. With its modest capacity and extensive roof canopy, the exterior looks like something you might see in the MLS, but the interior, well, not so much. It's not like any other college stadium, or MLS stadium for that matter. It does share some similarities with the one in Lyon. Hang on, is that a swimming pool behind one of the end zones? I guess that's one of the perks of being located on a tropical island. Winter doesn't exist. Lava does though, so swings and roundabouts. I don't talk about ice hockey a lot, and you can probably guess why from my accent. Yes, we don't really play ice hockey in Nigeria, but I do know that the New York Islanders are based on Long Island. However, they've been jumping about from the state-of-the-art, for basketball, Barclays Center to the fairly old Nassau Coliseum. The former not being made for ice hockey and not on Long Island, and the latter not quite being up to scratch. So UBS Arena was built just a literal stone's throw from Belmont Park, where the little men ride around on horses for money. What a strange world we live in. It cost around $1.5 billion, which is a huge sum for an arena. Well worth it though, I'm sure. It has a unique, yet classic brick and glass exterior, inspired by New York's landmarks. I can't remember which ones exactly, but clearly lighthouses were involved somewhere along the line. By comparison, the interior is fairly standard, a multi-tiered bowl that looks quite similar to several NHL arenas. NK Osijek, one of Croatia's biggest clubs, plays at this humble stadium. Not bad, but far from being world class. The new stadium will have a rather elegant design, and surprisingly, it'll be the first stadium in Croatia where all the seating is undercover. Not just the seating though, those walking around the stadium will be covered by the roof that extends outwards. I love that. It's like a veranda, or a porch, or a patio, or a deck. Oh my god, there's too many names for similar things. It was actually financed by a grant from the Hungarian government, which is interesting. Just a reminder, this is in Croatia, but it's very close to the Hungarian border, so read into that what you will. Doesn't matter though, it's a lovely design to end with. Those were 10 teams who are moving to a new stadium soon-ish. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.